Hi friends, I'm Flutter. If you're new here, I talk about VR narrative design and development, which is my favorite thing. If you've been here for a while and you're always wondering why I say I'm Flutter, it's because I want to be clear to everyone that that is my nickname. I often get asked if I know how to use the software of the same name by Google, and I don't. So I have nothing to do with Flutter Software Development Kit. Nothing. It is just my nickname, and I thought it would be fun to use, but it has caused a lot of confusion. So I thought, I just wanted to mention that before I start the video. It's been a while, and that's because I've been fully into developing my VR narrative. I just recently finished all of the scenes, so the whole story has been completely developed and designed, and I have a working draft that now I can play through and see what those final polishing notes are and the bugs, which there's already a list of both bugs and what I need to polish. So that's going to take time. I always try to finish my narratives well before I want to send them to a festival or release them on a store. I think this one I'm going to actually release on a meta store. So we will see, but one step at a time. My first goal actually with it is to send it out to some XR festivals first. But what's the update? You've probably heard me talk a lot how this Dream Lodge is an app, because my first intention was to create a story app where you would open this big book in this cabin that had a lot of activities for you to do in the cabin. But from the book, you would be able to purchase full narrative stories through the book and then go experience them right away. My model was a lot like Walkabout Mini Golf, which is one of my favorite games that you hear me talk about all the time. I have other favorite VR games, I promise you. What happened? Why did I decide to shift from this story app? Well, the biggest reason is because it just became technically unmanageable. When I started to think about the future of it, I thought this is probably not something good for one developer to take on long term. And I think if I really want to do that project, I should get more people on my team and not do it as a solo developer. So it's something that I still like the idea of a story app, but I think I would like to spend more time on developing the design of that and what I would really need. And with that, I discovered I had this really nice cabin scene, and I thought, well, I want to do something with this now. And as I was thinking about it, I decided, wow, this could be a great story. So a story started to evolve as I was thinking about a lot of backstory to it and some themes I wanted to explore. And then I spent some time to just redo the flow and narrative. And now it's a story. So it's not an app anymore. It's a VR narrative, my favorite thing. So it is something that I can now finish and then get into some festivals. I also have a Substack article that I put out a little while ago about this shift. So if you like to read my thoughts instead of watching me, there is that available on my Substack. And if you want to subscribe to my updates and you get emails from me in a newsletter form, you like to get emails, then definitely sign up for that. There is a link in the description. I have to say it was hard to let go of the story app idea because I felt like it was really unique and that I could have more control over how people would purchase my narratives. It's as if I would have a lot of little short stories into this one app, but it was taking away from me actually making the stories as a solo developer. And I want to get back to Mermaid Song, which I did create for Viverse, but I want to create a longer narrative version of that strictly for VR. And the longer I was taking to work on the story app and really struggling with, this is going to be an issue in the future, it was taking away from the possibility of doing that, finishing that narrative. Really, why I wanted to share this with you is, one, maybe you're interested in where I am with my project, The Dream Lodge. But more importantly, I wanted to share how critical it is to let your project speak to you. And I think in a time where we want to finish things quickly and we feel this pressure, I will not speak for you, I feel this pressure that I need to create content really fast, even games like really fast. And what happens is it takes away from the real true creative art process, that it needs time. Your projects and your stories need time. Now, I also am a believer to not take 5 or 10 years on a game. That's just me, especially if you're newer. Also, if you're, I like to just tell stories. I like spending a year, maybe 2 on a game, on a VR narrative. But I really think to be pushing something out faster than that, I think is not going to be good for you, because you're not letting the art marinate and sit and show you and speak to you about what really needs to be done and created. And it's sometimes hard to let go of an idea that you really think is good. I really got sad about changing the app idea because I felt like I had spent so much energy around that. And then I was throwing it out. And it didn't feel good because I thought I had failed at that moment. But as I was creating the story around this cabin and a lot of the functionality that I had already started, it was showing itself to be really fun and interesting, and I was having more fun with it again, and I felt less of the technical load on myself, which really allowed me to just be more artistic. And I think if I were to have forced that other idea, it might not have come out as good. And I also want to just get really good and masterful of my craft. And I think I was pushing a little bit higher, a little challenging, a little bit higher than my skill level. So it's like finding that balance. You want to challenge yourself, but you also don't want to make the challenge so difficult that you start to get discouraged. So it was something I had to learn there. And I've learned a lot and gotten better at other things, I think, by taking things a little bit slower when it comes to challenges. It's like, okay, I know how to do that. Now let's add this one little thing to see if I can do that and make it a little harder. Now let's do that and make it a little harder, instead of jumping to this like, yeah, I'm going to have to figure out how to do all these DLCs and make it all optimized. And how is it all going to load? Oh, it was getting out of control. So I'm glad that I made this decision. So what I'd like to hear from you is if you've ever come across a challenge with either like the scope of your project or the idea that you realized was technically above your skill level, and then you kind of felt bad that you couldn't reach it. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, because I think there's another either Substack article or video from this idea. And I'd like to hear what you're dealing with in your projects in that way. So let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for listening to me ramble on about my project. I really do share it because I'm hoping that it'll help you on your journey with your project so that you can see that you're not alone and that there are other solo developers out there who are deep into their projects and maybe not even talking about them every day because they're struggling with them and working hard on them and enjoying working on them, that you're not alone. And just wanted to say hi and let you know that. Before I forget, because I almost forgot, I just opened my calendar for one-on-one coaching sessions with me. So if you're struggling with a design challenge or you want to talk to another human who's going through the same things with VR development and design that you are, and you want to hear my opinion on something that you're working on, you want me to look at your portfolio and give you some feedback on that, definitely sign up. I have 30-minute slots available as well as 1 hour. I will put a link in the description below. In the little spare time I have been learning how to play the harp. I practice every day, and I thought I would share that to close the video. Thanks, friends.